Would you trust the Labour Party with your kids? Labour MPs drank the transgender Kool-Aid. They are responsible for turning the trans debate toxic. They are responsible for encouraging this madness that was revealed by yesterday's cash reports have been nothing more than experimentation on vulnerable children by unhinged activists and medical professionals who many think should now face criminal prosecution. Here's Labour MP Nadia Whittam's reaction. She essentially said that trans children's health and well-being should not be a front in a toxic culture war. She got community noted for that, actually. It's not linked to a toxic culture war, it said. It is all about whether or not a radical ideology had gripped the NHS and was ruining kids' lives. But thank you, Nadia, for giving me the opportunity now to highlight how it was Labour MPs who were and are the toxic ones in this discussion. Step forward, Lloyd Russell-Moyle, Labour MP for Brighton, Kemp Town and the leader of the Socialist Campaign Group, being unhinged, vile, threatening and disgusting towards a fellow MP who wanted to stand up against trans madness.
Goodness me, that speech was probably one of the worst transphobic dog whistle speeches that I've heard in an awful long time. The idea of linking trans people with predators, frankly, is disgusting, and you should be ashamed. But the reality of this section 35 is the new Tories section 28. It is their continuation of a war against a group of people, their culture war, that they want to pursue.
What about Labour MPs jeering their own colleague Rosie Duffield when she wanted to stand up for women's spaces?
Conflicts with the Equality Act and would have repercussions for women across the UK. Does the Secretary necessarily segregated by sex, such as domestic violence settings, changing rooms and prisons? And given the previous UQ, does he not understand how vitally important this is at the moment?
What about that time that Labour MPs filibustered about ferrets to block a parliamentary debate on protecting biological sex for children?
I thought I would take the opportunity, as it hasn't been taken many times during this session of Parliament, to actually talk about ferrets a little more.
On April the 2nd, National Ferret Day will be marked.
The risk of rabies from illegally imported ferrets.
Ferrets, ironically, absolutely stink. And so has Keir Starmer's attitude towards women, helping to push this trans madness even more.
Nick, I don't think we can conduct this debate with,
Sorry, have I offended you in some way?
No, it's just... I just...
And now here comes the utterly shameless shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper, taking the high ground now on this report.
Well, I hope that this report really is a watershed moment for the NHS, for NHS gender services, because this is, the report's clear, it's basically talking about evidence, focusing on children's welfare. And
where were you, Yvette? Where were you when it mattered? Here's Labour Shadow Health Minister Wes Streeting welcoming the report.
If you'd asked me a few years ago on this topic, I would have said, trans men are men, trans women are women, some people are trans, get over it, let's move on. This is all a blown out proportion.
People were trying to raise the facts. Do you regret?
I think I absolutely take the criticism on the chin.
Well, it's all too little too late, isn't it? The fact is, if it wasn't for the Tories, there wouldn't be an attempt to stop social transitioning against parents' wishes in schools. There would be little to no opposition to male rapists in women's prisons, to hairy blokes in women's changing rooms. There would have been no cash report, would there? Kids would still be mutilated. The Tavistock would still be a thing. You can bet your bottom dollar that Labour wouldn't have done a thing about it.